Before we get to the content, I just wanted to let you guys know we're giving away a PlayStation 5 to a subscriber that turns on their notifications on this channel. Whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber, if you hit that subscribe button and turn on our notifications and hit that bell, you have officially entered for a chance to win a PS5. If you want additional entries, make sure you're followed on Instagram at The Flight Mike or Twitter, which is also The Flight Mike. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? This year, I've never been more saddened to see a team lose and not at least make it to the AFC Championship round than the Baltimore Ravens. Because in my opinion, I believe they did every single thing correctly. They had a remarkable NFL draft that filled a ton of needs when they hit on almost all of their draft picks. Players like Patrick Queen, J.K. Dobbins, Devin Duvernay, Justin Madubuike, and then they made that remarkable trade for Calais Campbell, which definitely bolstered their defense. And after sending a late round draft pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars to acquire Calais Campbell, they essentially doubled down on that philosophy by acquiring Yannick Ngakoue for a third round pick. This defense was absolutely remarkable. It was significantly beefed up from the previous year, adding players like Calais Campbell, Patrick Queen, Yannick Ngakoue, and Justin Madubuike were completely game-changing for the Baltimore Ravens this year. Unfortunately for the Baltimore Ravens, though, they practically ran into a clone, but it was kind of like an inverse clone if you think about it. You see, the Buffalo Bills went backwards. They started by establishing their defense before they focused more on the offensive side of the ball while they were developing Josh Allen. And it was pretty interesting to see both of these teams match up because both teams have prolific offenses and both teams have remarkable defenses. So let's cover the Buffalo Bills first because I think we need to give them proper respect. If you watch this game through its entirety, you would know that it was a defensive game. And Josh Allen essentially looked like 2018 rookie year Josh Allen, as opposed to the Josh Allen that completely blossomed as a passer this year. The Buffalo Bills had a very interesting defensive philosophy against Lamar Jackson, and it was pretty effective if you watch throughout the entire game. You see, the Bills would run a zone coverage on 87% of Lamar Jackson's pass attempts in the first half, and if you compare that to what the Bills would do throughout the regular season, they would only run zone 56% of the time. If you also paid further attention, the Bills didn't even attempt to run the ball in the first quarter of this game, which is really fascinating because typically if your team is built upon the back of your defense, you try to establish the run and the ability to control the clock early on. But the thing is, these two teams were jousting for position until the mid-third quarter, and that's where things really hit the fan for the Baltimore Ravens. You see, Lamar Jackson didn't really have his greatest game. He didn't have an atrocious game. He went 14 of 24, threw for 162 passing yards, threw 0 touchdowns, and had 1 crucial interception. He was sacked 3 times for a combined 24 yards, and he had a rating of 61.4, and he only contributed 34 yards on the ground. That's a stark contrast to what he was doing the week prior, where he went over 100 yards passing and rushing in order to advance his team to the position that they're in today. However, that one interception in a game where both of these teams were clearly evenly matched and this game could have gone either way was the crucial point for this entire game. You see, Lamar Jackson didn't make a huge mistake by throwing it the direction of Taron Johnson. Taron Johnson just made a remarkable play on the ball, baited Lamar Jackson into that throw, took it all the way over 100 yards to the end zone for an NFL tying record with former Dallas Cowboy George Teague for the longest pick six in NFL playoff history. The thing that I believe was the most crushing about this entire game for Baltimore Ravens fans is the fact that this game could have clearly gone either way. These teams were so similar in the way that they were built that I truly believe that it could have easily been Josh Allen throwing the pick six to Marlon Humphrey. But alas, that's not what happened, and that's when things began to hit the fan for the Baltimore Ravens. You see, they were already in a game where things were a little sloppy. Their all-pro kicker Justin Tucker, who one day will be enshrined in Canton for being one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history, did his best Cody Parkey impression by doinking 2 field goals. That's 6 points automatically off of the board. That takes away a potential lead that the Baltimore Ravens would have had. That takes away some of the momentum that the Buffalo Bills may have garnered from the pick 6, and it would have cut the deficit to only 1 point at the time if both of those field goals would have been converted. Now, again, sometimes things don't go your way, and in Justin Tucker's case, he is more on the money than not. But what followed after those doinks and that pick 6 was just even worse. You see Lamar Jackson snap the ball. The center practically got the Buffalo Bills a safety, but they were lucky that it didn't happen. But on top of that, he essentially knocked Lamar Jackson out of the game. And Lamar Jackson had to go to the locker room, not to take a poop this time, but for concussion protocol. Tyler Huntley came in for the rest of the game. And at that point, the Baltimore Ravens season was done. It's really disappointing because the Ravens did every single thing that they should have done coming into this season to make sure that Lamar Jackson and the entire Baltimore Ravens team had the best chance to succeed. So if you're a Ravens fan, I want you to let me know in the comment section down below, what changes do you want to see made in the offseason? Are you blaming this game on Lamar Jackson? Because personally, I'm not. I do think that he has a ways to go in his development in terms of being able to pick apart zone coverage, and that is just something that comes with being a better quarterback year after year after year. And unless if he's able to take the next step as a QB, this is something that could potentially limit him for the rest of his career. If he makes a Josh Allen-like stride in the future, then I'm sure that he's going to be fine moving forward. In terms of the team built around him, it's a remarkable team. It's a very stable organization. However, it's up to him to take the next step in his development if he really wants to be that unstoppable player. If you look at Josh Allen, he did have moments earlier on in the season where he was able to pick apart zone defense, but for some reason today he was not able to get it done, at least not at the rate that he typically was able to get it done. He still went for 23 completions out of 37 attempts, 206 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. He got sacked 2 times, but he had a significantly better rating than Lamar Jackson with an 86.1. I believe the additions that the Buffalo Bills made as well were remarkable. Trading your first-round pick for Stephon Diggs is a very ballsy move that definitely paid off. Brian Daboll definitely deserves that brand new head coaching position with the Los Angeles Chargers because the work he did with Josh Allen was something that I never thought was possible. To be honest, I thought Josh Allen was going to be a colossal draft bust in the 2018 NFL draft, and I know I'm not alone in that thinking because I've seen the Josh Allen archetype. I've seen plenty of quarterbacks with prototypical size, prototypical arm strength that just weren't able to put it together. But after seeing Josh Allen essentially be a running back for his first year in the NFL and then kind of take strides in his second year to the point where he seemed really good in his third year, to the point where he's making calls at the line of scrimmage, changing up plays, I am absolutely shocked and very excited for his development in the future, and even excited to see what Brian Daboll is going to be able to accomplish with Justin Herbert next year. If you're the Baltimore Ravens and you're a Ravens fan at this point, you have to go into the offseason hoping that the Baltimore Ravens don't try to make big name Jerry Jones-esque type moves like bringing in new wide receivers or something like that. I think they need a better offensive line, maybe invest some more resources in there, and then secondarily, you could look at your wide receiver core. Again, this game could have gone either way, and it's a shame that this is how it turned out if you're a Ravens fan, but I'm sure that they're going to be back here next year, and after having a pretty remarkable offseason last year, and just being a team that has a knack for drafting well and building their roster properly, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be back in the playoffs once again next year. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this game. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.